Good night. So, constipation on carnivore. A lot of people confuse constipation on carnivore. They think that because they're constipated, or because they're going carnivore, they're constipated. This is like the big myth or whatever with the vegans that come after people. They say, "Oh, carnivores are constipated all the time." That's not. That's why they're not going to the bathroom. It's kind of like not the truth. Meat is liquefied, basically. Your body can process and digest meat very efficiently. A lot of people say to avoid constipation, you can take some over-the-counter stuff. That's not necessarily going to help all the time. Some people say ingest insoluble fiber. That's not going to help unless you're like laden carb heavy or something like that. Some people say add more fat, drink more water, increase your salt substantially. There's a number of things people say that can happen to avoid this constipation or actually help control the constipation, but really I was never constipated on a carnivorous diet. I had diarrhea for about 6 weeks carnivore, and it transitioned and I was completely fine, and I would go one small movement every single day on carnivore. My body was able to utilize the nutrients better that way. Actually, what I find works the most for people that I work with is just being active, movement. If they're truly stopped up, going to the gym and getting a nice workout or something in like that. Increasing their hydration does seem to help some, and extra sodium does seem to help, or even extra fat does seem to help if they're truly constipated. But how I tell people if they're truly constipated is you'll get to a point where you feel like almost pain, extreme bloating, things like that. What I find is that by the second or third day, people are already using the bathroom, and they think it's normal to go to the bathroom 2 or 3 times a day when it's really not. When I first started, I didn't use the bathroom for like the first probably maybe 2 to 3 days. I didn't use the bathroom. By the third day I was going to the bathroom, and then it took about 6 weeks to regulate from the diarrhea. But overall, I never had a constipation problem, and I think it's a complete myth that vegans will talk about how carnivores just don't use the bathroom, so it means they're constipated. It's not the case. Our bodies are able to use what we're actually eating. We don't have a lot of byproduct and stuff that has to get into the colon and the rest of the digestive tract. A lot of it's already absorbed in the small intestine before it even gets to the large intestine. But then they also use the argument, well, if that's the case, you got bacteria in the large intestine that will end up traveling into the small intestine to feed off nutrients, because it's supposed to have nutrient density in the large intestine as well, somewhat, in order for it to thrive properly. So when you don't do that, the bacteria from the large intestine can travel upstream into the small intestine and start to populate in the wrong area, eating or it's called like like a mucus wall or myceli wall or something like that, and it can overpopulate on nutrients that it's not getting in the large intestine, which I believe that's a complete myth as well. But I have spoke about this in the past, and over time I've realized that that's not necessarily true. I've never had problems with that. So constipation can just be the fact that you're actually using everything that's going in your body. You just don't have a lot of waste coming out. Give it some time. If you're not in pain, if you don't feel like a lot of pressure and stuff like that, like something's wrong, I wouldn't be too concerned with it. If you're not eating a lot as it is, you may not have anything to come out because you're eating so little. There's a number of things that can speak for this constipation. So actually make sure you really know that you're constipated. If you are really constipated, I would try some of the other things that people talk about, extra fat, maybe a little bit more water. But then some people say water even can slow down the process of trying to get rid of the constipation. The main thing that I see is salt and fat. That's what a lot of people say they fix their constipation with, salt and fat. So anyway, that's my opinion in this video, since I have to say that now. Certain people don't like the fact that that I'm talking from more of a experience standpoint, the fact that I've been doing this for 15 years, and the fact that I'm involved with 6 different Facebook groups and a public page, and now that I'm starting to speak publicly about it, I guess I cannot state anything from more of a factual standpoint because that triggers people. And unfortunately, I'm going to have to stop doing that because I don't have time to argue with people. So, this is my video on constipation. My opinion.